in Barberton. Well, not too far from there is the venue where the funeral service is going to be taking place. And this is where Iman, my colleague, and of course we're joined by Mr. Baloyi, William Baloyi. He is part of the government communication services. We're going to be talking about all of what these preparations mean for what is going to happen tomorrow, Mr. Baloyi. But before we do that, Iman, I have difficulty pronouncing the name of the venue of this particular school. So I'm going to leave that in your capable hands.
Let me bring my best Afrikaans, Medigeer, Bergvlam. And before we actually chat, we were just chatting to William now about this amazing vista behind us. It's sunset here at the Bergvlam Stadium, which is going to be host to the State Funeral Category 2 tomorrow. And the man with all the answers about just how big an undertaking this is you, William. But perhaps we can just give you the generosity of just reflecting on David Mabuza first before you talk us through the modalities of putting something like this together.
Well, thank you very much, and also Iman. I think today, after the whole week that we're here, it was supposed to be a sad day. But for the whole week that we have been here and hearing the anecdotes of what this man was, you start to agree that really this is a celebration of a man who you can, without any fear of contradiction, say he was a man of the people. Your ordinary people are talking about how the late Titi helped them, starting from looking at a dilapidated house, starting from looking at destitute families, and until also the business people. So he was a real man of the people. And I think we derive pride as government that if you have government representatives who the community can cherish and look forward to and cajole in terms of what he has done to them, I think it says something in terms of saying how do we serve our communities. And I think we are proud that today we will be participating in the sending off of one of the greatest stalwarts of government.
Let's talk about Category 2 funeral. Talk to us about that. Let's educate South Africans what that entails.
Thank you very much. The President declared Category 2 for Deputy President. Category 2, it's for your serving Deputy President. Category 2 is for your former Deputy President and also acting President. That is Category 2 state funeral, not Category 2 official funeral. There is a difference. There is an official funeral, there is a state funeral. Maybe let me give an example. In a Category 2 or B of official funeral, we have the police service that provides the elements. But when you have a Category 2 state funeral, you have the South African Defence Force. That is the one that is providing the service.
And we actually saw, Kholi, a little bit earlier on, the Deputy Minister of Police, Polly Boshielo, giving a briefing to some of the representatives of all of these different departments. When we're observing this event tomorrow, and it's the only, I think the second time we're observing it following the passing of Nelson Mandela, this particular category, it is quite a complex operation. How many departments are actually involved, and what are our viewers and South Africans likely to see unfold tomorrow?
Category 2 involves all departments, interdepartmental, but they are organized under what we call an IMC, Interministerial Committee, that oversees all the departments. You have Public Works, responsible for this infrastructure that we are looking here. You've got also Department of Transport, they're here. All security agencies, all of them, they are here. And we've got social development, we've got all the departments that are participating on this one.
Let's bring in a bit of controversy, and I'm merely bringing it here because the colleagues at the House, they have just wrapped up the briefing where the Secretary General of the ANC apologized to the family for them learning through the media of the passing of their loved one. And this is something that would ordinarily be handled at the presidency level, I would imagine, because the president must announce the passing of a statesman such as Mr. David Mabuza. How did that leak happen?
No, thank you very much. I think it's an unfortunate incident. However, you have to also understand the issue of technology. Now we are in a different era. But also there is this element of an official declaration. And I think it was only the president who officially informed the nation through an official statement. So the others are, as we normally see in your Twitter anticipate and so forth. But as far as the SG is concerned of the ruling party, I think I might not speak on his behalf. But yes, I saw when he was doing interviews and explaining why also he had to get into that, and I will leave it to him. But as far as government is concerned, we were alerted through the formal official statement of the president, and that is what we live in. However, the issue of modern technology, and sometimes there is information, misinformation, and disinformation. However, on this one, maybe let's leave it as it is. Yeah.
It was so interesting, and I think what we've been talking about was David Mabuza wasn't only a premier of this province for almost a decade, and of course he had a prolific political career before that. He was also the deputy president. We were reflecting on the fact of his children, Mxolisi and Angela, talking about there was a little bit of unhappiness, that they didn't get to see their dad as much as they would have liked. And in part, when you have a funeral like this, there's part family ownership, but there's also part ownership that the country has in the office of someone like a former deputy president. So this funeral is split in two parts. You have the very public funeral tomorrow, and then there is the private burial piece. So maybe just talk to us about what's likely to unfold practically in respect of those two, and we transition from the public into the private.
No, thank you very much. Maybe let me start on the issue of the family and the memorial service that was held at his birthplace. We went to where he grew up, and you could hear from the family how the man started from humble beginnings and to the level that he was. But there was one interesting thing about all this thing, and I think that can be summarized by what the family also said. He was a servant of the people. He was not a leader of the people. He was a servant of the people. There is quite a difference there.
Can
he was a servant of the people. Yeah. Then he was given, certain responsibility of leading.
The reason I'm interrupting you is exactly what Iman and myself were talking about, that we as media people have an image of David Mabuza, the politician, the shrewd politician. I think that's how Ferial Hafaji described it. But when you say the people, he really had a particular resonance with the people, because for them, I remember talking to a few of them, for them, they're saying that this was someone they see very differently from how we saw him, we described him in the media. This was a giving person. He helped educate some of the people, particularly where he grew up. He helped set up schools. And so I suppose when you say what you are saying, that he was a servant of the people, he really did live up to the expectations of a servant of the people.
He was also actually an educator, a teacher. Some of the people that we interacted with, they say he remained a teacher until they were giving us an example of not long ago he was burying his brother. He was a humble person who said after the funeral service, he was with the people, even including those that he taught. To them, he was still that teacher. But only when they watch the media, they read, they see that, oh, by the way, he's also a deputy president, a former deputy president. So I think that is the quality that you need when I use the word servant of the people. You get the people to send you to serve them. You are the best among the best. You are not coming from the top to be their leader. You get sent to lead and to play a particular role. And I think that is what the late deputy president did. And we are quite proud about that. Even the community is quite proud about their son, who was an ordinary person to them, who was helping people. And I think that's how we should remember the late
I mean,
Titi.
you know, as is customary in just society, and I guess in South Africa particularly from an Ubuntu perspective, is in the time of someone's passing to focus on the good and not so much the controversies. I know we're going to be speaking to Paul Nyoni not too long from now, who is the DDG in the provincial government here, who walked a very complicated road, let's say, with Didi Mabuza, and we'll get his sentiments in a moment. But there were these controversies that David Mabuza was involved in, and there are other families who might not remember him as favorably. The family of Jimmy Motlala, who was at one time a municipal speaker in the province, he was assassinated. There was a lot happening in the run-up to South Africa's World Cup, especially here in the province, and it earned the undesirable moniker of South Africa's assassination capital at one stage. And this was under, you know, his tenure. There were no charges against Didi Mabuza ultimately in the end, but there are these controversies nonetheless that existed during his time. How would you characterize all of that complex history in the remembrance of a man, with deference also to the people who might not have had as positive an experience?
No, thank you very much. No human being is perfect in this world, one. But secondly, we live amongst the people. And as you know, by nature, human beings do interact and you have relations. A relationship you have with me might not necessarily be a relationship you have with somebody. But what is the most important thing? The most important thing is what you have done to assist human beings in the course of your living. And I think testimony should come up from the people on the ground. And I have no doubt that the thousands of people that were there in the 3 memorial services, all of them remembered the good deeds he did for them. And I think that is, but that doesn't mean that we are perfect. We are not perfect.
Before we let you go, because we have to let you go, William, soon. I know you've got lots of business to do. Road closures, there are lots of practical things. The people here in the province and in the city of Mbombela particularly have to be aware of. Road closures, certain roads, certain hours. Where can they get that information?
No, thank you very much. Tomorrow the service here at Berglam, Berglam, will start at 9 o'clock, but we want everybody to be seated by 8:30. And the whole service will happen here. The burial is going to be restricted. It's not private, because this is a state funeral. It's going to be restricted in terms of the numbers because it is happening in a private property. So most of the events will be here, and we are looking to start exactly at 9 o'clock. And we're not sure about the time, the duration, but it can be between 2.5 hours. We will be closing the roads at 7:30 in the morning until 8. That is to allow the cortege to come into the stadium, then they will be open. Then we will be closing them again at 11 so that the cortege can leave. And fortunately, it's not going to cause much of an inconvenience because at the venue here, we just moved to R40. That is the only road that takes us to Barberton. So we have made sure that the normal life should continue, but we expect many people will be here. We have prepared for close to 3,000 people, including, of course, your dignitaries. That will include your diplomats that will be here. And I can confirm that the Deputy Prime Minister of Eswatini would also be amongst the dignitaries.